Right, we'll do it then. The last point of all, my ugly point. This is an abstract one, so I want to see where you guys go for this. Right, I'll set it up like this. At the moment, if you asked me the most entertaining teams to watch in Counter-Strike, listen, obviously, yes, Na'Vi would be on the list, but Heroic would be right near the top of the list for me. I actually genuinely really enjoy watching them play. I think there's so many elements that I enjoy about their game. I think there's so many reasons. Put it this way, I think their results should be better than they actually currently are, and they're still a top team in the world. They're still like an elite team. But this is the what I've picked as my ugly side. I think there is something ugly about the mental side of Heroic, though. Here's what's crazy. Do you remember before we started doing these lands, when they had the online period where obviously all this speculation was circulating, like, did they cheat? Did they know that Honda cheated? Did they cheat with him? Like, are they all cheaters? Amazingly, during that period, they just held up really well. They were playing crazy Counter-Strike. It didn't look like they mentally broke at all, even though everyone was hating on them. Since they came to these lands, like, they're still a good team, but man, it's like you don't know what day. Like, one day, to think of the major, if you're at certain days, go and look back at those Swiss systems. They have times where they're just like an average team and they're losing like 2-0 to nobodies, or they're losing a full best of 3 to a team that's like 15th. And you're like, what? How is this possible? You're way better than them. Then you come to even in this scenario, this blast here, right? I know there's obviously the intangibles of the crowd and all this. Like, dude, I've almost never seen a team mentally break as hard as they did in that fucking match. They're a better team than Astralis. They should have won that game. It's actually a really worrying sign going forwards. Because here's what's cool. If you're a winner, sometimes a crowd being against you like that'll actually spur you to make an epic game where you say, like, fuck the crowd essentially with your play. You're like, right, you know what? If they're never going to cheer for me, it's like the thing that Fallen himself did in that very arena. You're like, right, fuck it, I'm the librarian, the mate. I'm going to make nobody be cheering in this motherfucker. If those Astralis guys are vibing off, everyone, well, let's give them nothing. Let's crush them. Instead, it looked like, for real, those heroic players. The joke is, metaphorically, they were just in the shower, fucking on the floor, like curled around their like knees, rocking backwards and forwards. Like, it's all right. Online's coming back. Like, fucking hell, mate. The way they broke their mental is what I'm saying is they're ugly. Like, I think they're a brilliant team, but there's something I'm a bit worried about with where their mental state's at in some of these scenarios, Because if you want to beat Na'Vi, if you want to win the events, you can't do that. You can't be breaking like that, man.
The narrative that I've read for Cadian in particular is that it always seems like he's worn his emotions on his sleeve to a fault, and if things are not going incredibly well for him, I think it permeates through Heroic, because you really do look at the other players on that roster, and there's no one else you would really peg as being an emotional leader. I'm sure some of those guys can secondary call, like Refresh probably. I think Stown probably at this point, probably even Shush from what he learned from Hunden, and that's not even a joke.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
People have to remember Hunden was a real person that existed and did a lot of things other than cheat. Like, he's not just a meme at this point in time. I know.
Yeah, I'm not being ironic or anything.
Yes, okay.
But Cadian has had a history of, because I look back at this actually when I was watching the major, just like how many times does Cadian in a final like elimination game just really choke it? And it's like, it's something, it's over half the it's like 70 something %, and maybe I'm being a little bit unfair because if you get eliminated you probably didn't play well, but him in particular, like the worst stats in the server kind of numbers, like very frequently. And as an opper, you need to be the guy that puts up one, good numbers, and two, just like you need to like make things easier for your riflers. You need to get that opener so now they can play the normal trade game and come out on top and not have to overextend themselves. Because you have the best gun. And so that's something where, the morale, the emotions of the team doesn't seem like there's anyone else that's that rock. Like, they all probably seem like they have pretty level emotions online, but then when it comes to LAN, I mean, that's where things get pretty hairy for them, and it's not the first time.
And for them, it's also, you have to say it, none of them have played really a big LAN. Not even Cadian has played a super big LAN on a big stage. So it's also not, again, the same thing that we speak. Pressure, new experience. You have to get used to this surrounding by you, fans. You look your opponents in the eye sometimes. Like, for example, I remember when we played against Heroic in the qualifier for the major. I don't know, whatever it was called, too many tournaments. But in the qualifier in Sweden, we played, that was the first stage game.
Yes.
That we all played after a very long time. And so he could hear me when I was shouting when we went around. I can hear him shouting and vice versa. And we had a back and forth. And you will not kill me in shouting. Like, I will stomp you to ground with my voice. And I noticed how he gets quiet, and always a little bit more quiet. And once you change your approach during a whole game, if you're every round hyped, you have to stay hyped.
Yes.
Yeah.
If your team notices that you are getting quiet, they lose confidence. Not only in your teammate, in yourself as well.
Sure.
You lose confidence. You get quiet. You think about other things. Is it going to be a hard match now? Are we going to lose? How are we going to bounce back? And I think that Kaden, in my opinion, is just showing a little bit too much emotions. And I don't know. I think like you said, this team has the potential to be the team that can beat Na'Vi. I genuinely believe so, just for the sake how much skill they have.
Oh, for sure.
And not even only skill, the team play that they have. Like, I watched when they retake, for example, a CT. It's mind-blowing. They win so many retake situations. A CT, 4v4, 5v5, and they play it planned like that. They try to control they try to take a different area with more people. They leave the other side open, and then they just retake. And I think no team in the world does it like they do, coordinated, and just very smart, and they can base the game off that. So I think they have the potential to become the best team. I don't know what exactly is missing. I think also that KD maybe calling with AWP is a little bit hard for him.
For sure.
Because I think that he has the skill, but I think that he doesn't have the impact that he can have just because he's calling, I personally think. And I think if every player steps a tiny little bit more up, I think they can already contend with Na'Vi.
No, the team itself is mega. Like I say, if you take the pressure situation out, they look great, of course.
100%. The only thing is, like, now we have to be also afraid, or they have to be worried. Is somebody from Australia is going to come? Are they going to approach a player? Yes. Are they going to destroy the team? I hope not. I hope that the players and Heroic themselves will keep those players. I think financially they can. We will see. And I think also the team, they feel like a group. They're not like 5 individuals put together in a team. They're one of the teams where you say, okay, they're 5 friends. It feels to me like that when I see them outside from an outside perspective, walking around the tournaments, always together, always joking, having fun, jumping around, just enjoying themselves. And I think that gives you a big benefit as a team if you have such a good chemistry. And I think that they should keep going and keep building on that. I think they have the potential to become one day the best team in the world with the players that they have without making any roster changes. Just because each player has still such a gap, a huge gap to learn. So much to learn. Most of them are just playing 1 or 2 years, like 2 years maybe professionally.
You could genuinely argue, minus Cadian, every single player could still get better than they even are now, even Stoutman. Yes. He's still so young in his career, isn't he? Yeah, he's so inexperienced still. Yeah. No, I agree on that point as well, by the way. I'm definitely not saying make a roster cut. I'm just saying I want the experience to finally take over and they can show us what they're capable of, yeah. Because I agree, it's a team that doesn't need a roster move. Unless, like, listen, if you get some Sheik, look, I'll hook you up. I'll get you Carrigan, Device, and then we'll really start cooking with gas. But unless we've got that Sheik money, then we'll just stick with this lineup. It's all right. Come on.
One question for you that we spoke last time about. What AWPer could I see in G2? What about Cadian?
I don't hate it. Put it this way, I think he's probably a better raw AWPer than Amanek if he's not IGLing. The question is, will he be the IGL of the team as well?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. The problem I have is this. I actually think he's a better IGL than he's an AWPer as far as I can tell. So if I were him, I'd just give up the AWP, mate,
You cannot take credit away from his calling. You cannot.
No, his calling's great. Like, by the way, dude, I think if you want to see some amazing call, go watch whenever they play T-side Mirage. I think they have some of the best site rotations I've ever seen. Like, their timing of when to mid-right, it's mega. It's mega. Just what you'd think they were genuine. You'd think if you took the names off, you would think they had one of the best IGLs of all time, like some Glaive type motherfucker. So no, I agree. The calls are great. It's just obviously the question is how well do you think he AWPs?
Yeah,
I'd like to see someone like that. Someone like Nico.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that he can do it also in G2. But yeah, I don't know. I think that he could be potentially a good pick. It was just going in my head ever since we talked about that. How could he do?
Did you have a last point, my mistake?
I think just the emotional side of Cadian is my main thing for what might hold this team back. And if you kind of look at the best, some of the best clutchers in the world, it's like so oftentimes like the just deadpan guy that just like when he wins, he's like, he doesn't even say anything, doesn't even react to it. You know, like you think like, I mean, who lately has been clutching a lot? Like Shiro. Like I don't think I've seen that guy crack a smile on it. Well. Oh, Refresh. I mean, Refresh can be emotional when they win the whole thing, I guess, but like. Zywoo, for example, just like everything just kind of feels expected for some of these guys, and for someone like Cadian, you know, I always kind of think about like who would you want to build a team in terms of emotions, and you kind of want the guys that are like almost lobotomized. You just want them to do their jobs.
Oh, you do. Yeah, Crims, all those people where they just they just do their job every game no matter what. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much impact, because my philosophy or my theory or whatever I have learned is that if you always keep your mood balanced, like always in one tone, you cannot. How can you say? Sinus curve. Is it called in English sinus curve?
Sine wave.
Sine. Exactly.
Up and down,
you just don't go up and down, up and down. If you always stay consistently, first of all, it looks always the same for yourself, for your teammates, and you can always. Never anything changes for you. And people like Cadian, you win a round. You hype yourself up, but as much as you hype yourself up when you win a round, as much as he goes down when he loses a round, you cannot just get happy and pumped when you win a round.
I think it's way more intimidating as well, dude. Like, if you think of the Prime Astralis, even the Prime Fnatic, the way these teams beat you as though it was like they were, you know, they beat you as though they're like trying to send a package somewhere. Like, oh yeah, I just need 2 stamps. Like, they look at their board, like that's really intimidating. Like, you want the guy essentially when you give him your best shot and he takes it. You want in the boxing metaphor, you want him to wince and be like, oh, so you know, hit him right. If he just reacts like it's nothing, it's why, by the way, in combat sports you do this. You hide when you're injured. The ones who can really hide it, do that crushes the other guy because it makes him think like, fuck, that was my best shot. Like, what have I got left? So no, I agree. Like, the problem with it is this, right? In the short term, as pro players know, you're going to have games where it worked for you. You know, you like rallied the troops, like you got someone really pumped up, like you were winning rounds. The problem is you don't remember that. Like, that doesn't work every game. And I agree with you, mate. In general, if you look in history, the best competitors in most esports, I've noticed, they tend to be the guy where it's like, the difference is, I always say it's like their 7 out of 10 level game is just super consistent. Like, they can just do that every day, same day in, day out. And the idea is they're not the ups and the downs, because you even saw it in these games here. Like, Heroic will have a map where it'll be amazing all the way up, and then suddenly there's one where it doesn't start. It's a false start, isn't it? They just all look like, fuck, what's going on now? Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.